Alrighty, let's jump into it, fellas. Welcome to Stream Recap 41, I believe. Good morning. How are we doing? I'm in a really good mood today. Hopefully you guys are in a good mood as well. I feel like I'm always in a good mood when I make a dumb mistake that I can only really blame myself for. And I did something today that was one of the dumbest mistakes in my streaming career. Didn't really, negatively impact me that much, but it was very funny and dumb. What happened was I was trying to go live, and I have internet issues. Kind of, common. I live in the US, big surprise, right? Internet issues are a common thing here, unless you're one of the few people who have like Google Fiber or like some sort of infrastructure really wired in internet, right? So I'm like, oh man, like it sucks today. My internet's going down. I'm having trouble going live. My frames just tank every time I go live. And then I realized I was actually doing it. I was taking my own frames. I was uploading a video at the same time while trying to go live like a moron. Because I was uploading the same video. It's a full, big, like huge montage of all of the Shiny Wars stream recaps. So it's like a 5.5 hour video. It took like 18 hours to export, and it's like 16 to 18 to upload. So big video. I had forgot I was uploading it. So I was like preventing myself from going live and being like, gosh darn Comcast. Like I was very dumb, totally on me. Alrighty, other than my own dumb little mistakes, we got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, my encounter count is broken. Let me fix that really quick. We are waiting for any not anniversary, getting sidetracked. Lunar New Year event, Chinese New Year events news is currently the 13th as I'm streaming and as I'm recording this. The Chinese New Year happened on the 10th and still no event, but we did get some news from the devs. I did a video talking about this already, saying, hey, it'll just be in the next few days, which really means it could drop anytime. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, the Chinese New Year event could drop at any time, and with the Chinese New Year event will come a massive game-changing mechanic, most likely, similar to Alphas, as they've teased. Let's see what happens. Today, I am hunting Zapdos again over in Berry Forest. I might actually test a moneymaker while I'm here. I might do a wink-wink loot from 1 hour of Munchlax. One of the main reasons why I want to test that. My mic cut out there for a sec, sorry. My Munchlax isn't going to be like the best money per hour in terms of IVs and stuff. Munchlax isn't the most desired Pokemon, but what you want is the leftovers. So I'm curious how many leftovers you can see here per hour. The only issue is leftovers are pretty cheap nowadays, like 18k a piece. They've gone up a little bit, up to like 21, 22k, so I'm sure it's not too much per hour, but to hunt Moltres, do all this passively, throw up a Thief here and there or something against a Munchlax when you see him, I'm sure it's a decent method. We'll see, though. Oh, did I say Zapdos? Dude, this shows you I've clearly not been streaming enough. I'm going for Moltres. Excuse me. Thank you, chat. This is why you guys can be here to correct me when I just misspeak. So yes, I'm hunting for Moltres today, not Zapdos. Apologies for that. I'm so glad you actually brought this up, Clarko. Just so you know, I've bought some Bush's baked beans. They should be arriving this week. I can't wait to have my perception of top quality food change forever. So for those who don't know, I've been feuding with my British community saying that Heinz beans is probably the worst like canned beans you can buy, and it's absolutely true. I had someone, an honest Brit, okay, reach out to me this weekend. I will quote for quote read this Discord DM from them. I am so sorry, dude. Bush's beans are fucking amazing. He then goes on to say, you have to understand, us Brits have been brainwashed into Heinz all of our life, the same way that Americans have been brainwashed into liking Hershey's. So don't blame Clarko for his ways. He is ill. Which is all love you, Clarko. Very true and real. For the Hershey's comment, for those who don't know, the reason I love Hershey's chocolate, the reason why Americans like Hershey's chocolate is that we grew up with it. There's actually a chemical in it called butyric acid, which if you didn't grow up eating Hershey's, it just tastes like vomit, which I super understand. So whenever British people come out of America and come over to America and say, hey, I can't wait to try Hershey's, and they try and like, oh, America chocolate is so disgusting. Yeah, to some extent it is. Like, it tastes like vomit. But because we grew up with it, it's really enjoyable. A little fun, little food fact, food talk of the day. Bush's beans over Heinz beans all day, and then butyric acid in your chocolate. Yum yum yum. Okay, before I forget, I've got something to show off that dude, this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm in such a good mood today. I'm gonna be honest. This is a mood booster. Oh, I could just look at it all. Look at those 2 shiny flips have sold in 1 day. Over 5 mil Pokeyen. It's beautiful. 5.5 or so. It's gorgeous. Pat sold OT shinies? No. They're shiny flips. I'm trying to remember. I think I bought this throw. I'm gonna get, I think I bought the sock for around 1.8 to 2 mil, and then I bought the throw for probably around 2.2. So fair amount, like probably like 600k or so made on this one, probably 800k on this one. I'm very, 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 very happy with that. I even still have another, where's it at? Another, dude, all these humanoid males. Humanoid male is a good aid group, man, for shinies. Do not sleep on this. Humanoid male is a good, just a good aid group, dude. Okay, question number 1 of the day. Can Cricketune actually learn Thief? Because I would need that to be the case for him to be my Thiefer at this location. I don't think he can. Gotcha. So I think if I do want to test the, like, Thiefing Munchlax method, I will have to use a Frisk poke. I can't use this, which is kind of unfortunate. I could technically, what I could do is I could just switch my spin rack with Thief and just risk the having no taunt. You know, risk the, oh, I can't believe I'm going to take a risk that I don't get a shiny Munchlax, or, you know, that's, the odds of it are insane. So it's probably honestly worthwhile to do so. I'm going to head back to my PC, throw my Flex Shiny in here since I actually don't need it, and I'll grab that spin rack just in case I want to employ that method. And then I'm also going to, you know what, dude, let's just collect it. Oh, it's beautiful. Whew, up to 10.3 mil. I was poor, okay? Poor as all hell just recently. Just recently was like the bank, you know, was taking out loans, trying to desperately crawl back, and here we are. Not really. I would never take a loan in a video game. Here we are. Sock. We got to relist this, though. This was like for, what, 3.25? This is a good, like, look at this. 24 plus, 27 plus in these stats, 30. This thing is beautiful. This should sell for a fair bit. Let's do a live shiny price checking. The way that I would price check something like this is I would go over to humanoid, male, all shiny, and I'm going to go ahead. What I would do is I would do 20 plus like this. Maybe switch this to 25 plus. But let's just do 20 plus in every stat for a sec to get, like, look at this. Even with that price check, like being super safe and like lowballing it, kind of, 3.5 is the cheapest. Like this, yeah, like this is a solid, this sock is good, dude. This one's slightly better. Like, my price is just good. I'm gonna go with the 3.2 again. I don't know what I bought it for. I would guess that I bought this for 2.2, something like, so I think dude, some of these shiny flips I definitely bought so long ago at this point, which is not a great sign, but they're good flips. Once again, I said, like, the market in general is just slow right now because people have been saving up. Like, buying a shiny to breed is not on your priority list when the Lunar New Year event is coming up. Like, it's just not, like, that's, you're saving money for an event to make investments, you're saving money, you're not spending, like, you know, 3 mil or whatever on a luxury breed to breed up the IVs of a shiny Pokemon you have at this current time. It's not normal, and that's okay. So the market on certain things, it's like when the market on collectibles goes down, you know, in real life, when things like a McDonald's meal is $12. It's just basic memers, right? Nothing crazy here. All right, let's head back to Berry Forest Arena, though. By the way, you can encounter multiple Moltres, right? Like, if you catch it, you can farm another or not. In 3 months, you can catch another. So you can only catch 1 legendary per region per month. So, like, right now, it's like, what? Is it Suicune in Johto? I forget the dog right now. But it's Moltres and Kantos. Right now, if I were to catch Moltres, I get my Moltres for the month. And then in 3 months, I can catch another Moltres, but I have to wait for, like, the full rotation. But then next month, I can catch Zapdos. I forget which are, I don't remember the rotate, but, like, you can only catch 1 legendary per region per month, and the only legendaries that rotate like this currently are in Kanto with the birds and Johto with the beasts. What is the best humanoid Pokemon to breed? In terms of, like, getting males to breed, whatever's the cheapest. In terms of, like, females, probably Conkeldurr. We can actually just check. One of the best ways to check what's a good, like, humanoid egg group Pokemon, just check the PvP stats, check what are useful utility Pokemon, what are useful PVM Pokemon, yada yada. So first humanoid Pokemon I see on this list is Gallade Humanoid. I think it might be Chaos. Gallade might be, it might not be. Let me check. Gallade, okay, Gallade's Chaos Humanoid. So, but the issue is you need Gallade to come out male, right, for it to actually become a Gallade. Speaking of Gallade, pretty crazy to see it back up. They just reverted the nerf. They've been trying to balance sharpness Gallade since it's been added to the game, and look at it. 99.9% sharpness, 33% scarf, assault deer, adamant. It jumped up massively in 15% usage, 53% win rate. It's the highest win rate Mon. Wow. In the top, like, 10, maybe even in the top 20. Whew. It's pretty damn looking pretty freaking strong after the reverting over to like 1.5 times sharpness. Yeah, they've been struggling to balance sharpness. Like at 1.5 times, it seems too good. At 1.3, it seems horrible. They had it at 1.4 for a bit, and it also just seemed too bad, I guess. I don't know why they changed it from that. I think most people liked it at 1.4 times damage amplification. Gallade, the best Pokemon end of all regions, so fat. Gallade is probably sharp. If you can specifically buy, it's probably expensive is the issue. But if you can buy a sharpness Gallade, it probably is really good for the storylines. Because once again, I always say, man, 80 speed is all you need. Gallade has that 80 speed for the storyline, which is and then everything else is like into just damage and like into like decent bulk and special defense and stuff like that. So it would not surprise me if Gallade tore through some storylines. 1.45 sharpness next. Yeah, dude, for those who don't know, let's check it out. They've been trying to balance sharpness forever. Sharpness is an ability, let's read it, boosts the power of slicing moves by 50%. So things like Night Slash, things like Psycho Cut, it's specific moves if I'm not mistaken, but moves that work really well for Gallade. Like a lot of moves that it has actually. Does Leaf Blade count as well? Probably, right? That's got to be a slashing move. That's really good coverage. God damn. Yeah, it's a great Sacred Sword. Oof, does that? Wow. Yeah, double stab sharpness moves. You're just giving this thing. Yeah, no wonder it's so good. Like, it's like having double stab on top of the stab moves on top of an insane offensive typing. Wow, yeah. They got to find some way to balance it. That's crazy. Take advantage of it while you can. I always say, dude, when things are broken in a tier, use it. Like, it's why, like, whenever Ambipom, I always say, whenever Ambipom drops to NU, I know it's too good for NU, abuse it. Like, it sucks. Like, you got to play the game. That's just how it goes, right? Fairy someday. What are the odds that Fairy implementation is the way that they balance Gallade? And that could be the mechanic. That could be one of the big reasonings for pushing it up and possibly releasing it with the Chinese New Year event. I also kind of feel like, dude, maybe this is theory crafting, conspiratorial, keep that in mind. How ironic would it be to release Fairy typing the same year for the Chinese New Year event as the Year of the Dragon, right? It's kind of cute. It's the Year of the Dragon. How cute would it be to be like, fuck you, dragons, here's Fairy type. We had Fairy Elf bots. True, we had Fairy Elf bots this year for the first time. Wow. Okay, wait a minute. You guys is Fairy type actually... I think it totally could. I've been saying this forever. Fairy type 1,000,000% could be released without 6th gen. It's totally fine. It'd be the most PokeMMO thing to do. That's honestly... I'm trying to think. Fairy type might be the most convincing mechanic that might drop with the event, in my opinion. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Raids or dungeons would be nice, but I doubt it's done yet with how... They've just been developing too much other stuff. But there's also a good argument of like, oh, they've been thinking about or theory crafting or developing raid/dungeons for so many years, since like 2018 it was first mentioned, that maybe they do have so much backward done on it to where they can just kind of pump it out. We'll have to see, man, for sure. I don't want to speculate. Once again, clarify, this is all speculation. We don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't have inside information. We just kind of talk. It's fun to theory craft. We don't know what's coming with the Chinese New Year event. We just got to wait and see for real. Do you think they would give Garchomp Swords Dance with Fairy type being added? I think they should. Now, I'm not a PvP expert. I'm not a balance expert. I love the game. Been playing for a long time. Doesn't mean I know everything. Doesn't mean I have the, I shiny hunt a lot. I don't have a lot of PvP experience. But I feel like, yeah, if you have a new type that gives a goddamn immunity, immunity is so big to Dragon type. Yeah, I think you could give Garchomp Swords Dance back personally. Damn, Pat, cash some of those BP. I'm sitting on a fair amount of BP, 132k. But there's just not really a reason to unless I need the Pokeyen. I kind of keep it in case I need to like desperately sell off some choice items, or like invest in something, or but I sit on it because I just don't need the cash desperately. And then I like to always have at least 20k BP saved for BP moves in case of an emergency. I could sell off some of this, but I don't know. I like to just keep it in case if a teammate. I've had situations where like a tournament is coming up in the next couple hours. A teammate realizes, oh shit, I don't have this BP move, and I don't have the BP. Hey, does anyone in team have the BP where I can trade you the Pokemon? You go get the BP move for me, and then I'll pay you an upcharge of Pokeyen. I love being able to provide that for my teammates. It's only happened once or twice, honestly, but it's one of my favorite feelings. So I think Azumarill might get bumped all the way up to OU if Fairy type dropped. Azumarill would be so good, man. It's just so threatening. Choice Band Azumarill would probably become the ideal variant or whatever with the huge power and everything like that. But like, just the threat of it also being Belly Drum. Like, Azumarill is so fucking scary because you don't know at first whether it's Choice Band and you don't know whether it's Belly Drum. And if you make the wrong decision, the game could just be over. You could lose a crucial mon. You could let it set up. It, you know, unless you have like a perfect counter for it or a perfect tank for it, like Azumarill can be so scary because it can just end games on the spot. It can just end games. It's such a risky mon. I love, dude. Whenever it's an NU right now. I bet I would. I'm gonna, before opening up stats, I'm gonna guess that Azumarill's win rate is above 52%. Azumarill is, in my opinion, one of the strongest Pokemon. It's broken in NU. It should never be an NU. It shouldn't. It's too strong for the tier. Let's see where it's at. I don't see it actually, so maybe I'm wrong. Okay, you know what? I'll eat my words. 49%. 6%. Maybe the metagame just doesn't favor it at all. Every time maybe I need to play it and do a little NU video. I see why. We've talked about this. Okay, the reason why Azumarill is really bad right now in NU, specifically in this metagame, NU's in a stall metagame. I've seen so few stall metagames in PokeMMO. Stall is not that good in PokeMMO because usually the balancing just favors offensive sets. It's just how they like to balance things, because stall is not very fun. It's not fun to watch. I think it can be fun to play. It's like chess. It's very slow, and I kind of enjoy that sometimes, but not playing against it sucks. But look at this, man. 54 almost % win rate on the first 3 mons. These are all stall mons. Hitmontop, Rotom, Electros. I don't think Honchkrow is stall. It's probably the counter to stall. Adamant, Moxie. It's probably the counter to stall, in all honesty. Quillfish is used for stall. 56% win rates for my boy with the Quill? What the hell is happening here? Yeah, Intimidate Quillfish ends up getting used as stall. Piloswine is stall. Druddigon is hard stall. Steelix is hard stall. Bronzor hard stall. Golbat hard stall. All these mons are stall mons. This is the slowest, most defensive NU metagame I've seen in a super long time. I haven't even thought about this. One thing I'm interested in is that some gym reruns lately have been relying on Togekiss Hyper Voice spam. Absolutely true. I wonder if Dazzling Gleam will work the same once it loses normal stab. How big of a deal would it be? Haven't even thought about that. People have, PvP changes, blah, blah, blah. All those bound with fairy type. How many people think about PVM and money-making balancing changes with fairy type? I haven't even, so I'm sure a lot of you haven't. The idea of thinking about gym reruns being rebalanced or rechanged via fairy type being added is wildly interesting. That would be a really, really cool shakeup. Okay, I've got 14 lore steps left. My Kricketune is dead. This might be the perfect time to just go ahead and run out these lore steps. And we're gonna do a loot from 1 hour test live, fellas, right now on the Munchlax. Yeah, I've never personally seen a spawned in Pokemon with an OT other than Squirtle. I think that I could be wrong. I would love to actually just ask the devs on this. So this is theory crafting, not confirmed information. Keep that in mind. It wouldn't surprise me if Squirtle is the only developer who is allowed to spawn in Pokemon. For those who don't know, like when you win a catch event like this, you get like spawned in a shiny. Or spawned in a Pokemon like that, right? It wouldn't surprise me if Squirtle is literally the only person who has that power, because then you know if you start seeing them in the wild or some shit, or if he were to ever abuse that power, it'd be like, oh, it's Squirtle. Like, you know, it'd be like, oh, it's the one guy who has that power, you know? It's so easy to track that down at that point if only one person has that power. Event reward OT isn't spawned in by, I could be wrong, from my understanding, it's not spawned in by a player or developer. Event rewards are spawned in like by the system itself, like by the game. It's automated essentially, the same way the I believe so. The same way that, what's it called, like tournaments are automated. Event rewards are automated, I believe. I could be wrong. So, you know, always take with a grain of salt, but that's my understanding. Do you have any predictions on when the Lunar New Year event will start? I know Q said a couple of days, but wanted to get your input. My input. I really appreciate the question. I don't really have anything special. Maybe some people like to think that maybe they'll start it on the weekend, you know, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because it helps people jump into it a little bit easier. But I don't even know. I feel like in my opinion, from my experience, I don't even know if the developers really care about releasing something on a weekend. I don't know if I've ever seen them like curve a release date for that purpose personally. So I don't know. Yeah, honestly, I have nothing besides that. I don't really have much to add. I just have no idea when it. I would just say a couple of days. No idea, dude. We got the same question popping up. The amount of times I've given this PSA, I could, if you gave me a nickel for every Master Ball, Legendary, or Alpha Pokemon, I'd be a millionaire. Never Master Ball Legendary Pokemon. Never Master Ball and Alpha. It is 100% objectively, logically a waste in every way. Now, technically, people really don't like being told what to do, okay? So if I say this and you disagree, and it makes you happy to go use a Master Ball on a Legendary, and that brings you enjoyment, then you know what? It is worth for you. I respect it. Go, you know, use your Master Ball just to spite me, okay? That's kind of based. I respect it. However, like, in terms of value, you only get five Master Balls. They're not tradable. You can never get more. That's it, right? Alpha Pokemon and Legendaries can both be caught really safely with Timer Balls. Timer Balls are so good. Or Dream Balls with a 4x catch rate. You should never be wasting them. Alphas, on average, cost what? Like 40k? Think about it monetarily. Would you sell your Master Ball for 40k? Hell no, right? Absolutely no, right? And then Legendaries. What's like the cheapest Legendary? 800k? Would you sell your Master Ball for 800k? I wouldn't. Absolutely not, personally. And then even then, why would you when you just don't have to? You just don't, like, there's just no reason to ever use a Master Ball because it is more beneficial for you to let the Legendary or the Alpha die and lose it and then just go for it again than to waste your Master Ball on it. You get 5 Master Balls throughout your entire PokeMMO career. You're never getting more ever again. It's a priceless thing to consider. Then what should you use your Master Balls for? I constantly talk about this, give this PSA. Use your Master Ball for shiny Pokemon that can kill themselves that you aren't prepared for. AKA Final Gambit Shiny Basculin, AKA Teleport Shiny Abras if you're not prepared for it. AKA Shiny Electrodes, things with explosions. AKA shiny Pokemon at 1 HP like Rapidash or Lickitung that may have things like Takedown or Double Edge. There's so much stuff like that, right? 100%. Anniversary chests backed up to 50k. Good thing I copped 100 before they went up. Oh, you love to see it. 50k, not even like in the yellow or red. Whew. That is pretty nice to see. Wowzers. How many more of these do I have? What's my current value of anniversary chests? I got 1,300 of them. So what if we bring up the good old 1,300 times, that's not math, 1,300 times 50k. Now, obviously, I'm going to lose on the listing fee. I'm going to do times 48k. Sure. Sitting on 62 million Pokeyen in anniversary chests. I probably spent 20 to 25 on them. That's a good feeling, boys. That worked out really well for me, luckily. How much money do you need to call yourself rich in this game? It's all about perception and all about your goals, you know? If you want to, let's think about this. If you just want to ×5, if you want to like do free shiny hunts, ×5 horde hunt, maybe make some competitive Pokemon here and there, whatever. There's like different types of wealth. Like if you want to do a lot of cheap and free activities and that's just where your goals are at, you could have 3 mil and be like quote unquote rich. Now, would I call that rich? Obviously, definitely not. There's like stages of it though. For a lot of players, I always say, dude, so the main 2 types of wealth in PokeMMO are wealth without expensive vanities and wealth / egg hunts and wealth if you want to do egg hunts or buy expensive vanities. Does that make sense? Because the 2 most expensive activities in PokeMMO by far, the 2 things are buying rare vanities and going for rare shinies. Those are the 2 most expensive things. If you don't want either of those things, you could have 25 mil cash and you can do anything. If you have 25 mil cash in PokeMMO, you can pretty much do anything in the entire, maybe even like 10 mil, 10 to 15. You don't need that much. You like 10 to 25 mil, and you can do pretty much everything in the entire game. 99.9% of the game is in your reach, unless you want to buy rare vanities or go for rare shinies. And the issue becomes, if you want to go for rare shinies or rare vanities, which a rare shiny hunt is usually going to cost you around 120 million Pokeyen and take you to 2,000 to 4,000 hours. A rare vanity is going to cost you anywhere from 100 mil up to 15 billion Pokeyen. Yeah, I'm not kidding. 15 billion Pokeyen for one vanity. Then your level of like, oh, what it takes to become rich goes from 25 mil up to like 2.5 bill, or up to like 800, 500 mil or so. So wealth is just wildly, you know, perspective based and goal based, really obviously, but those are the two. I'd say the two biggest milestones are 25 mil is 99.9% rich, and then 500 mil is 0.01% rich. Thoughts on the developers' lackluster communication? My personal view is the devs is negative due to lack of communication. I think the biggest, fairest critique you could give of the PokeMMO devs is their lack of communication. I think it's probably their biggest issue. Does that make them bad developers just because of that one issue? In my opinion, no, not at all. For you, if that's the case, fair enough. I think it's good to critique the devs. The issue is giving actual good critique is really hard. Most of the time, people just say, like, the devs stink, they smell, the devs, you know, fucked my mom, and that's why I'm mad. Like, a lot of people just, like, hide anger and frustration and, like, express it by, quote-unquote, critiquing the devs. Game developers in general are aggressively over-critiqued. They're aggressively over-hated. People are way too mean to them. Now, at the same time, game developer is actually a really important job. It's a really big job. Like, whether, like, someone's happiness, especially in MMO, like, someone's thousands of hours, right? Like, hundreds of thousands of hours rely on the fate of your balancing decisions. It is like a very serious job. A lot of people's happiness resides on your shoulders as a game dev. It's important to take that seriously. Now, at the same time, they're human. You know, be kind with them, be patient, yada yada. Critique them if something goes wrong politely, but don't bash them, don't attack them. Just say it and move on. That's, you know, if you want to say, you know what, I'm disappointed that the devs don't communicate. Yeah, that's a fine sentence. If you want to say the devs fucking stink and smell and every other Pokemon MMO is better because obviously Pokemon is dying, blah, 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 because they don't communicate, that's just not true. Like, you're just attacking, like, you're just mad. You know, chill out a little bit, right? Just, it's a healthy medium. They're generally very good at most things, 100 million %. I do think that the Pokemon devs are geniuses. I know that's like a very insane sentence, but I think it's super true. When you're the first in life to do anything, I think it's a big deal. The PokeMMO developers were the first game developers to make a Pokemon MMO work long term. 1 million %. 100 million %, they were the first to do it. They were the first to find the breeding system that worked. They were the first to find the economy that worked. They were the first to find the PvP balancing and systems that worked. There's so much that goes into a Pokemon. And think about like how popular and how many people want a good Pokemon MMO to exist. There is such a demand for it. The fact that they were the first ones to do it is ridiculously impressive when so many people have tried and failed. They just need to bring on more devs so they can keep up with their deadlines. First, I don't think it's that simple. The PokeMMO developers, firstly, really don't want to bring in devs because they're really scared to, because they don't want their code to be leaked. It kind of already happened with from my understanding, this could be incorrect, but from my understanding, Pokeone, I'm pretty sure Pokeone was made by ex-PokeMMO staff, if I'm not mistaken. I know I think Pokeone and Pro might have both been made from like ex-PokeMMO staff, possibly. I don't think it's Pokemon. There's not many Pokemon developers. I don't think there is a Pokemon developer that's left. Pokemon only has like 5 or so developers. They keep that community really tight knit because they don't want any of that stuff to be leaked, because then people could just take over. You have to be super, super careful with that stuff. Pokeone was made by an old owner of Pro, Shane. That's what I thought, so maybe I'm confusing. Okay, that's good to... I know that Pro... Was it Darkshade? Someone from PokeMMO had some pretty big influence in Pro. Bigger dev team doesn't mean it'll be better, though. 100%. I agree. There's a funny story there, but it's super long. Yeah, the developer intertwining, I guess, between like all the Pokemon MMOs is just super interesting. Yeah, I think that, like, I don't think just bringing in more devs is what they need to do. I think just communication is what I always say. Like, if they just communicate, hey, like, every single month, if they just released like a developer... what is it, like blog post being like, hey, we worked on this month. Hey, we're looking at this. They don't even need to like specifically say stuff, because I know some people be like, oh, like, what if they're working on something that would affect the economy, and then people could like get ahead of it and like mess up the economy. That's, you know, I get it, right? They don't have to say specific things, but if they were like, hey, this month we're heavily focusing on PvP balancing. Hey, this month we've been working on a piece of PVM content this month, and that's all. We'll like. I do wish they would just communicate. Like, communication is so fucking important in my opinion. To be honest, the developers don't need to be interactive with the community. The other staff members can be the middleman. 1,000,000%. This is super true. There's a reason why games like RuneScape or social media manager is a job. There's a reason why like community manager is a full-time job. I really wish there was more communication and more of a pipeline between the PokeMMO developers and the other parts of the staff to be able to give us some sort of blog post every month. Monthly dev post or whatever. Something weekly would be crazy, but monthly would be, I think monthly should be fair. There's a reason why one of the best things RuneScape ever did, in my opinion, they did that like weekly. They did a weekly, I believe, RuneScape blog post. I really enjoyed those. Those keep the community up to date. They keep you entertained. They keep you interested and engaged with the game. If PokeMMO hasn't seen an update in 3 to 4, 5, 6 months, which happens a lot in the past, it starts to feel shitty as a player where you're like, oh, what's going on? What are they working on? I want to know the devs still care. I want to know that they're working hard. I want to make sure we're still engaged on this project and still passionate about this thing together as a community. I think communication from developers to staff to players is one of the most important things they could do to increase the quality of PokeMMO. 3 things the staff could do more of, in my opinion: roadmap of changes / updates, better communication with the community, more community interaction. Would love to hear more from the devs directly. Yeah, and it's like, dude, at the end of the day, their job is to be a developer. They don't not communicate. It's not every developer is like a social giga chad where you have to like, and that's, do interviews and like largely socialize. I understand that. I'm not asking them to be that. But what I am asking them to be is just at least communicate enough with the staff and communicate enough with other people in their community where they literally hire people to be community managers. I don't know if they get paid or whatever, but like there's community managers in PokeMMO. Like those people should be putting some sort of work into them or hiring someone. Just hire one person to be the social media manager, the community manager that like blog posts and does stuff like that. Yeah, roadmaps of changes / updates I think would be great. I understand when PokeMMO was a smaller game, I feel like devs in general are introverts. Yes, 100%, which I empathize with and I understand, and I once again want to respect that. But at the same time, I think it is their jobly duty to like communicate with the players and give them that respect. Yeah, they just hired one person. Roadmap of changes / updates. I really like the idea of this. Now, it's a tough thing because they really don't like to set deadlines because they might miss them. But I think I've always said I don't care if they miss deadlines as long as they communicate it. If they like, I've said this over and over again. This is how, maybe this is just me. I think I would like to see a poll of how the overall community would feel on this. And maybe it's like we don't really know how we would feel. I don't know, right? If the PokeMMO devs set a deadline and said, hey, the Chinese New Year event is gonna come out February 10th. And you know what? February like 1st or like maybe 1st to 5th, like a week or so in advance, rolled around and they were like, you know what, guys, it's gonna be late. We're really sorry. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. The issue is they do get some flack for that, I guess, still, which is dumb. You shouldn't dick on them for that. But I think it's fine to miss deadlines as long as you communicate properly versus this weird, like, anxiety and tension of, like, okay, well, historically, PokeMMO always releases an event on the event day itself. Like, there's already a mental deadline set in the community. Let's just face that fact. There's no, like, going backwards. Like, it's not like, oh, like, even if the devs don't set deadlines, those mental deadlines are still there. I feel like it's just a dodge of they want to like dodge responsibility, but bring in all the like, they want to reap the rewards without actually putting themselves at any social risk, which I think does kind of rub me the wrong way. And I feel like they've been developing for 10 years or so. Maybe it's just like the community backlash gets to them. Which I empathize. I've only been a content creator. I mean, I've been a content creator for a really long time, but like at the level that I have been for the past 2 or 3 years, and I feel like even that's like, weighs on me at some points, but it's my job. It's my job to interact politely to some extent, and it's my job to try to be the best for the community as possible and communicate, and like, I take that really seriously, and I feel like the devs don't take that seriously, which worries me. But we'll have to see, I guess. Communication, I wish the devs communicated more. That's the big TLDR of this long rant. Maybe you should be the community manager for PokeMMO. There's a couple, it's an interesting idea. I don't have the time with my current schedule. Now, if they were to offer me like some sort of salary to do this position and allow me to make content still, because I think that there's a current rule in PokeMMO, which is really interesting. Staff members of PokeMMO cannot make content. which is really interesting on like YouTube and stuff. I assume it's so they don't like leak anything behind the scenes on accident. It reduces that risk, or they don't like leak any like in-game staff menus and stuff like that, for example. For like security reasons, it makes sense. I totally get it. But like, so if I were to in some world become the PokeMMO community manager, where I like write their dev posts and talk to the devs and talk to the staff and communicate back and forth between the PokeMMO community and the developers, which I kind of do, but without any. I would have way more inside information and way more information, because I'm really just a player. I'm a player currently that sees the information they put out, and I essentially apply a megaphone by talking about that information on my channel. The average PokeMMO player isn't checking the forums every day. How you know, it's annoying. The average PokeMMO player isn't refreshing the forums for updates, isn't like checking Discord, isn't browsing all of these like pieces of information. And I like to try to like dig and find those pieces of information and then exacerbate them, megaphone them, and spread them to the wider audience. If I could get more direct information from the developers and actually act as a direct community manager to community manager, as opposed to just a megaphone, I'd be down for that. I'd be interested. There's a lot of things that have to qualify into place before actually being able to do so. I'd have to still be able to keep up my content creation. I would want to do that. I'd have to get some sort of part-time salary. Like, there'd be a lot of things in place, but I like it. It's interesting. Do you think of your job in content creation as something like journalism? To some extent. A huge part of my job is providing PokeMMO news. And I honestly was really inspired by that, and I can give credit to Roy Rogers News / Best Friends. I feel like he was one of the first people to take PokeMMO news seriously, and I have so much respect for him because of that. He really pioneered that space of PokeMMO 1,000,000%. And yeah, I think like video game news, MMO, whatever game you play, whatever passion or hobby you're interested in, having news of that hobby is entertaining no matter what part of it you're in. Like, whether you're a casual or a hardcore PokeMMO player, you probably care about what's happening with the news of the game to some extent. You probably care about, if a new region is coming, you want to know about it. If if legendaries are coming, if some update is happening, you probably want to know about it. You know, it's that information is relevant to people who care about the hobby. Stuff like in video games, a lot of video game people are like super ear to the floor right now, trying to any glimpse of like the Nintendo Switch 2. Everybody's like hyper like on the lookout for it. Everybody wants to know because they care about it. I absolutely try to some extent. Content creation in general is just, if you're ever exacerbating information, to some extent, absolutely journalism. Dude, what a great example of a fantastic journalistic type piece of PokeMMO content that released recently. I've talked about it already on my channel, but PokeMMO Investment / Shadow, he did a video talking about the Shalfa starter curse, and he really dug into and like went and talked to people and interviewed people and like dug through forums and whispers of communication to find all of the publicly known Shalfa starters that existed. So Shiny Alpha Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, stuff like that. And he did a fantastic job. That video is awesome. Check it out if you haven't. That is a truly like interesting, creative piece of PokeMMO journalism. Hey Pat, how do you make most of your money iFlip? Nowadays, dude, yeah, most of my money is made passively through flips, especially shiny flips. Because it's such a good use of my time. It's such a good use of my time to be able to I can spend 15 minutes flipping and make an estimated profit of 1 to 2 million Pokeyen sometimes. I know that sounds insane, but I have videos actually showing it, and then screenshots showing the sold listings to where I prove that's what happened. The time input, now it's a lot of it's passive, so you just do your flips and then you don't get instant money. You have to wait and be patient, and you have to have upfront capital and game knowledge. Like, flipping is not the one size fits all easy money making method that some people make it out to seem, but if you have all these things, it's easily the best money making method. If you have all the requirements, it's easily the best. I really like 10 minutes of flipping videos. I'd really like to get back to those. I really enjoyed them. It is crazy how much I would do like 10 minutes of flipping, specifically only flipping alphas, and I'd make like, it was interesting to me how I would almost consistently make around 600,000 Pokeyen per hour or so flipping. It was pretty insane. There were a couple times where I got lucky. Like I said, I got like 2 shiny flips within 15 minutes, and I make like 2. I think I had one of my favorite ones. So I made 2.5 mil Pokeyen off of 15 minutes of shiny flipping. That was pretty filthy. That was pretty nasty. But like on average, you're pulling in 600K of flipping an hour, and that's with mistakes. That's with, you know, listing fees. Like it's the margins are there, man. Here, I will say, I think if you're a beginner and you want to get into flipping, I would recommend sticking to one market and learning that first, and then expanding from there. Flipping is really hard to learn, but once you learn it, it's a superpower of money making. In my opinion, one of the best markets to learn as a new player is Dittos. Ditto is a really good beginner money making method, or beginner flipping market, because generally the prices are pretty low. The margins are kind of low, but you can still get some good snipes. It's a really fast moving market, so your buys and sells should be pretty freaking fast, because obviously Ditto can breed with everything. A lot of people farm Dittos. Dittos are one of the best beginner markets to learn, and then maybe move up from there. You move up to like alphas, or like maybe like a specific age group, or like maybe like eventually you do want to get to shiny flipping. Shiny flipping is where you start to make 600K to 1.2 mil within minutes. Now it's minutes of actual physical work, and then maybe a couple weeks of letting the Pokemon sit and sell. So a lot of it's passive. That's the reality of it. Keep that in mind. It's not like nothing is like a get rich quick scheme. Nothing is like flipping is really powerful, but there's reasons why it's powerful. It's a lot of game knowledge, a lot of patience, a lot of consistency, a lot of upfront capital. Like, it all makes sense at the end of the day. You know, there's no get rich quick scheme overnight that really works. If multiple Pokemon have an item, does Frisk explicitly say that there are multiple items, or does the Frisk writing pop multiple times? No, it does not. That's a great question. This is why some people have talked about using like 2 different Friskmons, or like Pickpocket Weavile or whatever. And like the question becomes, is it actually a fit? Like, what are the odds of a battle having 2 amulet coins, for example, for like the Meowth thing? What are the odds of it? And then is the time loss of switching into a secondary Frisk Pokemon every single battle actually worth it? A lot of people on my recent video, the amulet coin farming one, were kind of mad or upset, saying like that I should have used Pickpocket Weavile. And from my understanding, I haven't seen. It's an interesting strategy, but I haven't seen any evidence of it being better than the current strat. I feel like there's a lot of time loss in switching Pokemon every single battle like that. It could be, it could not be. I just don't know. But I'd love to see more. Maybe I'll have to do a video testing it. You know, maybe that's the meme. But I hadn't done a video testing loot for 1 hour of amulet coin farming without. So I want to do that first, and then I can move on to the Weavile strat that a lot of people seem to think is better. So if there's a huge sentiment around it, maybe it just is. You know. All right, not how I like to end it, but there it is. Unfortunately, internet went out. People are still even typing in chat, but I'm offline. That's just how, you know, it happens sometimes, out of my control. Thank you guys so much for watching this stream recap and the stream. Like it if you did, if it was entertaining, fun, enjoyable, whatever, maybe hopefully a positive asset to your day. Dislike if not, that's okay. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. Follow the Twitch for streams like this Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that, which would be really helpful during the event itself coming up in the next few days. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal / Venmo help out tremendously. Just thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Have a good one, and good luck in PokeMMO. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno.
Thank you so much for watching until the very end of the video, and I hope it was a positive asset to your day. The same way everybody listed here is a positive asset to my day, going above and beyond and allowing me to make content every single day. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good one.